I'm back from the facility. Welcome in. It is 49ers Intel on a rainy Wednesday afternoon. The Philadelphia sandwich. Philadelphia sandwich is almost complete. That means Seattle, Philly, Seattle. Speaking of sandwiches, well, this is the Lombardi special. This is the kind of sandwich that we like a little bit better than the Philadelphia sandwich. Jumpstart Coffee, 24th and Guerrero, San Francisco. Many of you probably already familiar with this one. Definitely the most photogenic breakfast sandwich in San Francisco on the croissant. But go ahead, talk to Peter, big 49ers fan. Check out the Lombardi special. I love going to this spot. So anyway, on the note of sandwiches, I think the 49ers actually like the Philadelphia sandwich decently well because they're winning. They beat Seattle. They just crushed Seattle for the first leg of it on Thanksgiving. Then they crushed Philadelphia. But now I believe this is a maturity test for the 49ers. The second time around playing the Seahawks. There are so many ingredients for potential letdown, and it's up to the 49ers to make sure that they do not succumb to them. First off, they just completely destroyed Seattle not even 2 weeks ago. And when you beat a team that badly, and then you play them really soon, shortly thereafter that, it's still in your mind how badly you might have beaten that team. So really important for the 49ers to beat Seattle and to bring the same kind of effort as they did last time. Got to take a bit of a coughing break there because sometimes it gets to you as you're talking. So here's Eric Armstead. Man, struggling a little bit early on this show. But anyway, here's Eric Armstead, who was injured for the 49ers. We're going to talk a little bit about the Seattle maturity test in a little bit because Armstead is not going to be available in this game. He's one of the veteran leaders on whom the 49ers are going to have to on whom the 49ers rely on a week-to-week basis to make sure that they keep this steady sailing, to make sure they keep the level of focus up in the building. Eric Armstead probably is not going to be available this week, although the 49ers are optimistic that he has avoided a long-term injury. It's the knee now that's the issue with Eric Armstead. The foot and the knee are both on the injury report, but the knee is what popped up against Philadelphia. And when you look at what Kyle Shanahan is talking about right now, he's talking about a week or two. He said no ACL or MCL. It's something else that's wrong with the knee for Eric Armstead, something that Kyle Shanahan obviously didn't even bother to know coming up to the press conference. So the 49ers do hope that he'll be back sooner rather than later. So that's the news on Armstead. The maturity test for the 49ers. You look at Seattle. This is a team that you badly beat less than 2 weeks ago. You look at the emotional high of the win over the Philadelphia Eagles and the fact that this is a rebound game. You have to get your sleep in if you're the 49ers because you did travel cross country and you had to fly back from Philadelphia after the game on Sunday night. So that could set you off a little bit off track at the start of the week. All of this combined presents the 49ers with a real challenge. If they can go into Levi's Stadium on Sunday and beat the doors off of the Seattle Seahawks from the get-go, I'll be really impressed with this team's maturity level. I'll be really impressed with their ability to focus. Great teams are able to dominate regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the emotional highs and lows. Nick Bosa was talking about it today. He said one of the toughest things about this league is to bring it on a week in and week out basis, even in spite of the roller coaster ride of emotions that the NFL can bring. And the 49ers saw a high, undoubtedly, last week in Philadelphia. This is an opportunity for them to perpetuate the same energy and focus that they did against the Eagles and to prove to the league that they're not just a team that's going to ebb and flow along with the larger tide in the NFL. Mediocre teams, or just teams that are just good, they're going to ebb and flow with that tide. The great teams, though, are able to set their own tempo, set their own energy level, and make sure that it's high on a week in and week out basis. I thought that the 2022 49ers showed some real signs of being great leading up to the point where Brock Purdy got hurt in the NFC Championship game. But they were on what, a 12-game win streak? It was a really long win streak entering that NFC title game where they didn't let up on a week in and week out basis. They just kept on going at opponents' throats. So this 2023 team now is to prove they're made of the same material. And obviously they have to show that, and this is a luck dependent, but they have to stay healthy. There are two things that I think can derail the 49ers from winning a Super Bowl at this point. They are injuries, and they are some kind of weather situation that's outside of their control. The great potential equalizer in football is weather. So if there's a downpour in a game, something that's greater than just sprinkles, right? Or, just general rain. If there's a true downpour, we're talking Chicago 2022 season opener. I think that's something that can throw the 49ers off. But as they stand constructed right now, the 49ers are clearly the best team in the NFL. So health and some sort of weather equalizing factor, those are the two things that I think can trip them up. Either way, this is a maturity test for the 49ers. You can always be tripped up in the NFL if you're not focused. I think the 49ers have shown that they have the veteran leadership on this team, from Trent Williams to a guy like Eric Armstead, who they're going to have to deal without in all likelihood this week. I think the 49ers have shown that they can ride through with high energy, but they have to show that they're not going to succumb to the ebbs and flows of the NFL, and they have to do that on an annual basis. And you might have to do it on a weekly basis here, because the next 3 games, 2 of them are against opponents who are going to be heavy underdogs against the 49ers. It starts with Seattle, and then it continues the following week with the Arizona Cardinals before the Baltimore Ravens come to town for a massive, massive showdown. So no Armstead, but the 49ers hope that it is not a long-term situation. Other good news for the 49ers is that Ray McLoud, their leading return man, was back out at practice. So Ray McLoud missed the game against Philadelphia. The 49ers had Deebo Samuel returning kickoffs and Ronnie Bell returning punts. Ronnie Bell obviously muffed one of the punts, but luckily for San Francisco, he kicked it out of bounds. You don't want Deebo Samuel returning too many kicks just for health and safety purposes, even though I think he's good at it. He did it in 2021 when the 49ers were really shorthanded on special teams and struggling there. But that was a temporary stopgap. Ray McLeod has a rib injury. He was in a blue non-contact jersey at practice today. But the fact that he was out there shows you that I think he's trending toward being back for the 49ers this weekend against Seattle. Kyle Shanahan had a really interesting comment about Christian McCaffrey. Christian is the best player I've ever been around without the ball in his hand. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the update at Levi Stadium after practice, but this is the type of stuff that people say about Steph Curry on the basketball floor. And the Warriors, I think, play in 20 minutes, Oklahoma City, right? So we'll watch Steph Curry. Think of Christian McCaffrey when you're watching Curry without the ball. He is working his tail off without the ball. I'm talking about Curry right now. And that sets the Warriors up for when he does get the ball. And that's why he's one of the all-time greats and is going to be going to the NBA Hall of Fame. Christian McCaffrey is going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame one day. And his attention to detail, even when he doesn't have the football, is one of the many reasons why. But on the slip screen to Deebo Samuel, that was the 49ers' final touchdown against Philadelphia. Brock Purdy, before throwing to the left to Deebo, he faked a pitch to the right to Christian McCaffrey. And Philadelphia bit on that fake because McCaffrey sold it completely. He knew that he wasn't getting the football. He knew that it was going to be Deebo Samuel's time to shine. But even then, Christian McCaffrey gave 100% effort. That is full buy-in to the team. Christian McCaffrey did that on Sunday. He has done that throughout his entire career. He did that for Stanford when I was covering them in college. Christian McCaffrey is a special player with and without the football in his hands. And I think that's emblematic of the 49ers team mentality as a whole. Nick Bosa talked about the unselfishness of the defense. They didn't care if they got sacks or not. In fact, the game plan was not to chase sacks against Jalen Hurts. The game plan was to contain Jalen Hurts and actually take a little bit of steam out of the pass rush so he wouldn't escape, contain, and run against the 49ers. So the unselfishness on offense also exists on defense. We talk about McCaffrey moving without the football, McCaffrey not complaining when Deebo Samuel is getting touches and touchdowns, or when George Kittle or Brandon Ayuk are getting the football, and vice versa. Well, on defense, the 49ers aren't moaning about not getting enough sacks, right? The 49ers are not crying about a lack of interception opportunities because of the type of defense they play. There's an inherent unselfishness on a team here that is exceptional considering how many star players they have. Anyway, the 49ers put this formula on tape to beat Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Now they would like Philadelphia to lose to the Cowboys. And Nick Bosa said today, hopefully the Cowboys watch the tape. That was a not so subtle call to Dallas to watch what the 49ers did, because San Francisco believes they have found the blueprint to really derail Philadelphia. They think that Jalen Hurts will struggle under the conditions that the 49ers put him in on Sunday. And that was that constrained pass rush, plastering coverage on the back end. It took a real team effort, something that really made Jalen Hurts uncomfortable, because Jalen Hurts is used to running around a little bit back there. He finds his open passing opportunities by scrambling a little bit. He likes to incorporate his athleticism into that part of the game. He's obviously not a conventional quarterback. He was an MVP candidate, and I think he probably still is, but he was the leader before the 49ers put that beat down on the Eagles. So obviously the 49ers did something right defensively to slow Jalen Hurts down, and Nick Bosa is urging the Dallas Cowboys to try the same thing. Dallas right now, by the way, is favored by 3.5 points. The 49ers believe that if Dallas can get this done against Philadelphia, and obviously if San Francisco takes care of business, 49ers believe they can win that 1 seed. It's probably going to take winning out to get it, to be honest, if you look at this, because Philadelphia's schedule eases off significantly after this game against Dallas. It's hard for me to see them losing against teams like the New York Giants, who are absolutely terrible this year. So the 49ers are hoping the Cowboys can actually help them out. And then if, that does happen, the 49ers are going to have to win the remainder of their games in all likelihood. And that includes the showdown on December 25th against the Baltimore Ravens. Going to be huge for the 49ers. Also, 49ers intel, we're going through everything today. Dre Greenlaw and Dom DeSandro, the Philadelphia Eagles head of security, they apparently apologized to each other via intermediaries, and Greenlaw said he seemed like a genuine guy. He seemed like a guy everyone loved in the building, so I hate that it even escalated and went to that. At the end of the day, I agree with a lot of you who comment, well, DeSandro shouldn't have even been near the 49ers sideline. Yes, 49ers have an absolute right to be very upset about that, because DeSandro being so close to the action led straight to the altercation, which wasn't a fair trade for the 49ers. The Eagles lost a security guard. The 49ers lost one of the hardest hitting linebackers in the league. Not fair at all. So the 49ers hope that at least some change will come from this, that the NFL will find a way to regulate where these security personnel stand on the sideline, because it wasn't good for the 49ers. You look back at Nick Sirianni mouthing to the official that he hopes that number 57 gets kicked out. And then Sirianni went into his press conference this week and said that it was a shame that somebody got kicked out. Well, he was the one that was lobbying the officials for Dre Greenlaw to be kicked out. The 49ers absolutely got a raw deal in this scenario. But it does seem that cooler heads are prevailing a little bit later on. Apologies have been exchanged. And whether they be through an intermediary or not, it's time to turn the page for 49ers Seahawks this week, where, again, the 49ers have a major maturity test in front of them. They do not want this to turn into a letdown type of game. They want to make sure that they're bringing the same heat this week as they did last week against Philadelphia, and it's going to be a good barometer of the 49ers locker room leadership. They were a lot better than the Seahawks on Thanksgiving. They should still be a lot better than the Seahawks right now, just based off of who they have available player-wise, how they match up. Seattle's cornerbacks couldn't tackle the 49ers last time. Geno Smith was not able to deliver against the 49ers defense the last time these two teams played. He might have been a little bit hurt with that elbow injury. I don't know how much better he's going to be this time, but that offensive line has been unable to block the 49ers. And perhaps most importantly, the Seahawks linebackers can't keep up with what the 49ers are doing from an adaptability perspective. Philadelphia's linebackers couldn't keep up. Christian Ellis, the young linebacker who started for Philadelphia in place of Zach Cunningham, he really struggled, and the Eagles cut him today because the Eagles are picking up Shaq Leonard. And Shaq Leonard, I don't think, is going to help Philadelphia much in relation to San Francisco, because he's coming off of back surgery and obviously isn't the same player as he was before when he signed that record contract to usurp Fred Warner's money. So anyway, that's the run through of the news in the 49ers locker room today. There's one more piece, though. Logan Ryan, the 49ers' new defensive back, he was on a cruise ship to the Bahamas when the 49ers called him. He kept his phone on, didn't officially retire, wasn't sure if he was going to be in the league anymore, though, but he stayed in shape, been working out a lot. He's in good shape. He was back out on that practice field today for the 49ers. But Logan Ryan got the call from the 49ers. He was drinking on a cruise, and from that point on, the drinking stopped. No more alcohol for him, and he has hung out in that cruise ship gym for the rest of the voyage. Then as soon as they docked, I'm guessing in Miami, if he was headed out to the Bahamas, Logan Ryan got himself a flight to San Francisco so that he could join the 49ers this week. He is going to be a nice veteran sounding board in that secondary for this team. This is a player who's won 2 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. So he's been around greatness. He's been around what it takes to win. And on a side note, this is one of the reasons why the 49ers might bring in Zach Ertz, why they're at least interested in bringing in Zach Ertz. He's a former Super Bowl champion, somebody who scored a game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots of all teams. But anyway, Logan Ryan, he's played every single position in the secondary. He's been a cornerback for several years. He's been at safety for a few years. He's played slot corner. He's played outside corner. Jair Brown, the 49ers rookie starting safety. It's always good to have a veteran in the room off of whom to bounce ideas. Tashawn Gibson Sr. has been an awesome veteran for the 49ers to have. He's helped that locker room a lot. He's still playing at a high level. Well, now the 49ers have Logan Ryan in the room as well to insulate the depth that was lost when Talanoa Hufanga got hurt and then George Odom got hurt. So he stopped drinking on the cruise ship. He started working out, and now he's with the 49ers on the practice field. Why don't we do a quick 49ers roster update? We can take a look at their 90-man, where it stands. Put this one up on the screen for you. I have this all updated. I also have the 49ers IR activations, IR and PUP activations. They've activated 3 players so far this year: Samuel Womack, Robert Beal, and Darrell Luter Jr. The 49ers have a total of 8 activations they can use from IR. Obviously, from IR, they've only used 2 of them so far, Womack and Beal. So unlike last year when the 49ers had a lot more injuries, it looks like they're going to be in better position to not run up against the limit. Last year, they did hit the limit in that regard. New player, Logan Ryan, the DB. I have him shaded in teal. That shows you where Logan Ryan is. 49ers practice squad is all filled up. No Ty Davis Price on the practice squad. I'm not sure if he cleared waivers. I can check to see if he did. I'm guessing he did, because we would have heard if somebody would have picked him up. But the 49ers gave Logan Ryan the number 32, which was TDP's old number. And they also gave Logan Ryan Ty Davis Price's old locker in the building. So it doesn't seem that there are any imminent plans to bring Ty Davis Price back to the 49ers practice squad. I could take a look at the transactions right now today, and we can see if there was clearance of waivers. This is terminations via the waiver system, so I don't think there was a claim. I'm guessing it would have been listed under the claims. So yeah, Ty Davis Price, a free agent, I believe, looking at that in all likelihood. I was just looking at the league's transaction wire. Anyway, that's how it looks now after Ty Davis Price was jettisoned. The 49ers, you know what's interesting, Elijah Mitchell popped up on the injury report today, and we could shade him in pink because of that. So the 49ers cut Ty Davis Price, even though Elijah Mitchell is currently missing practice and is hurt. So Jordan Mason, next man up behind Mitchell, and then Jeremy McNichols is the 49ers emergency back on the practice squad. Maybe he gets a flex up for the game this weekend. But obviously the 49ers did not believe Ty Davis Price should be on the roster anymore, and they decided to part ways with him to make room on the 53-man with Logan Ryan. If the 49ers do decide, and if Zach Ertz does decide to sign with the 49ers, Ross Dwelly, who currently has a high ankle sprain, 49ers have room for Dwelly on injured reserve. That would open up a spot for somebody like Ertz. And again, even if you bring Dwelly back later in the season, you have several activations from IR remaining if you're the 49ers. So that all is open for this football team. Up and down the roster, it's Burford and Armstead, interior offensive linemen and an interior defensive lineman who are both currently dealing with injuries. Darrell Luter out of the starters. Darrell Luter Jr. probably going to miss this week with a hamstring. Gives the 49ers a little bit more of a pressing need for special teams bodies. So maybe they flex up Eric Harris again, the safety. Harris has one more practice squad call-up remaining. Chris Conley, the wide receiver, was called up last week. So opportunities galore for the 49ers depth players whenever some injuries happen, and we'll see how the 49ers cut it up this time. So I've gone through everything. That means it's time to go to the next thing, and the next thing is a 49ers Q&A. Why don't you subscribe to The Athletic, and why don't you drop your questions into the chat? I'm ready for you here over the next couple minutes. Questions are welcome, and I only have a few minutes for them, so hurry up. Where can John get a good sandwich around Milpitas? I'm sorry, man. It's Milpitas. I don't know about too many good sandwich spots there. Palo Alto might be a little far for you, but I mean, for me, I commute an hour plus every day, and I take the train a lot, so I don't really mind going 20 minutes, but you could probably go the 20 to 30 minutes to Palo Alto and swing by Fambrini's. That's the best one in the area. Somebody help John out with your sandwich recommendations in Milpitas. I don't want to recommend Subway like Andrew H. Andrew H is a good viewer, and I think he's joking. But, we get a little bit more in-depth on the food reviews on this channel. We recommend stuff like Jumpstart Coffee in the Mission, 24th and Guerrero. So that's my recommendation. Head up to the city. Stay in the city, then just drive down to the game. But it's tough. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Deli Board is really good. The thing is that Deli Board is in San Francisco. So if somebody's asking about Milpitas, I'm not sure how willing they are to drive up north before the game. And check on Deli Board. They might be closed on Sundays as well. I'm not sure. Who starts in Armstead's place? Kalia Davis, Javon Kinlaw? Probably Javon Kinlaw. Same body type, tall guy as Eric Armstead. So he probably slides right into that 49ers starting rotation. 2 sacks for Javon Kinlaw. No chance to clinch the division this week. They would open up a 4-game lead, and a 4-game lead with, I think, 4 to play. You still can technically lose the rest of your games, and Seattle can win the rest. And you can't quite clinch it yet. Although I guess they would have a tiebreaker. There might be 5 to play after this game. Let me look. Let's look at the 49ers schedule and count. But I know they can't clinch it this week because we didn't get clinching scenarios this week. The 49ers after this would have 1, 2, 3, 4. No, only 4 games left. And so would Seattle. But, it's because the Rams could sneak in still. Yeah, I think the 49ers could eliminate Seattle from winning the NFC West with a win this weekend because Seattle wouldn't be able to pass them. But the Rams are still a team that can make some noise in the division, and they play the 49ers later this year. Anyway, who cares? I mean, the 49ers are going to win the West. Health is the only thing that could trigger a collapse, in which case they couldn't win the West. And if the 49ers suffer that many injuries, well, then they have bigger problems than worrying about the NFC West. It's not competitive in this division. 49ers are fighting for the NFC crown and the Super Bowl crown, and they need to make sure they avoid a letdown against the Seahawks this weekend. Logan Ryan is going to be a backup, and maybe he sees some special teams action, but I don't think he's going to be rotating with Jair Brown. I think that he's used right now to insulate that safety position, and you never know when an injury will happen. All right, cool. Everybody, thanks for joining. It's been another fun episode. 49ers Intel. Got a lot more coming later tonight. So subscribe to The Athletic. I have the stuff all over Twitter. I guess I'll retweet an article right now, and we will talk to everybody very soon. That means tonight. So be ready for another show. Why don't you hit that follow button, hit the subscribe bell, and I'll talk to you in an hour, in 2 hours. I have a good dinner recommendation for you too. I have a couple spots that I might hit in San Francisco tonight. So we'll feature those, and we will talk to you later on this Wednesday night.